What is the HR operating model of the future? As business and the world of work transforms, many are looking at a new way to deliver the people strategy within organisations. The question is, what should this HR operating model look like? And more importantly, does the perfect model even exist? Welcome to Talking HR Trends with Natal and Tom, where we explore the latest hot topics and business challenges impacting the people side of organisations. Stick around to the end for our practical top tip. And if you like this video, please subscribe to be notified of the next in the series. Hi Tom, I heard the canals froze over in Amsterdam.
Oh
That's
yeah,
exciting.
everybody was skating, and that's what the Dutch love,
I
skating.
know. It's quite special. So today, Tom, we are talking about the HR operating model, which I don't know about you, but for as long as I've worked in the HR profession, it seems we're in constant search of the perfect model. So, first question, does the utopia of the perfect or right HR operating model even exist?
I think, as you say, this is a subject HR people love to talk about. I
Totally,
had
they love
a
it.
post on LinkedIn the other week about the HR architecture or something, and around 80,000 people viewed that.
Wow.
Yeah, I never get those type of numbers. So they like it. For me, it's always as you're asking. Well, I don't think the perfect model exists, and I think we should not spend so much attention to it because it's the last thing in a row of things you should be worried about. And often
Yeah.
it looks like HR teams start with the question, how should we organize ourselves? But maybe that's the last question because if you don't know what you're going to do, well, why bother about how you're going to organize yourself?
Yeah. So what's the problem you're trying to solve in the first place and then organize around that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, interesting. So in earlier episodes, we've explored some of the key trends that are starting to redesign the HR operating model. So things like the need to support business agility, agile ways of working, and definitely this need to be much more multifunctional and multi-skilled in how we solve business problems. So drawing on those discussions and your own research, if we think about the HR operating model and where it's at, what do you think are the key trends that are starting to reshape it for the future?
Yeah. And one longer term trend is more appreciation of HR operations. There were days when it was called HR administration. Nobody wanted to be in the administration. But we have seen that HR operations is the core of HR. And
Yeah.
also for a positive employee and manager experience, operations are key. So that's one trend, more appreciation and the increasing importance of HR operations. The second one, of course, is technology. Technology enables us also in HR to do things differently. So also many of the workflows and the work done in operations can be automated. Not all of it, but that helps a lot. So the second one is technology. The third one is uh, more focus, we've discussed that, on the employee, the employee experience, a more people centered HR. That's also important, and we have to take that into account. It's not only about a smooth running machine, it's not only about efficiency, it's also what's in it for the people, the employees in the organization. So that's
Definitely,
also
definitely.
an important trend we have to take into account. Then the last one, I can mention more, but the last one is that we also have changing shapes of organizations. So
Hmm.
uh,
Yeah,
the organizations are changing, and often it's not so clear what is in and what is out. So we also have to change the scope, and often our traditional operating model is very much focused on yeah the clear boundaries of the organization. And the last one I want to mention, sorry, is more uh, outward looking. So also HR being closer to the clients of the organization and not only bothered about how do we organize ourselves internally.
Definitely, definitely. I think understanding how you create value that flows through the business to that end customer is so important. Whether it's a customer that buys products or it's a service that you
Yeah.
provide to the community, it's so important, definitely. Okay, they are really great trends to start exploring. And I think what I like about the message here, Tom, is that it's contextual. You need to understand the organization you're working in and what's right for that organization rather than just a sort of a blueprint or a set model that you then go and implement. And I really like this idea of the more holistic approach to employee experience and by default being more joined up with other areas of the business to deliver that, isn't it? Other support functions and the like.
And maybe we also look at HR too much as one thing,
Yes. Yeah.
while we are doing different things. So I also see a kind of split of HR. And that split is operations we've mentioned. That's the bulk. Most people in HR are in operations, and that's a super
Yeah,
important part.
it is.
The second part, let's call it HR strategy, HR advice, HR architects. Those are the people who are kind of the HR designers. What are the interventions we have to do, we want to do to
Yeah.
be to have impact on our organizational goals. We don't need many of those people, but that's an important element.
Yes.
And the third, today, that's often called employee success or people success. That's the part
Yes.
of HR that is focused on the people,
Yeah.
helping people to become better. And if
Yeah.
we merge it, and I think we have discussed this earlier, but if you merge it too much, it becomes unclear. Eh?
Yes.
Are you there for the
Yes.
people? Is it operations? Is it strategy? So
Yes.
maybe those three parts are separate.
Yeah. So would these three parts essentially be your perfect model, Tom? So the idea that we've got lean, efficient, very tech orientated operations. We've got the design, how do we design great experiences for our people? And then an area that focuses on the success of our people. How do we make people be great in our organization? Would that be
Yeah,
your
and I
kind
think
of
those are
theme?
the ingredients, I would say, for
The
your model.
ingredients, yeah.
Yes, and
Yeah.
operations, you mentioned but operations is also about people because that's about service.
Very
It's a
true. Exactly.
high
Yeah.
service to the people. But those are the ingredients, and maybe you don't need all the ingredients. If you start in an organization, well, maybe the start often is in operations.
Yes.
And then you add some people, but maybe outside people who can help your people to become better. The strategy part, well, you don't need to spend days and days on that part. If you hire an intelligent person like myself, for example, for a couple of days, well, your strategy is ready. You don't need that a lot.
Well, the strategy needs to be driven by the business ultimately and that end
Absolutely.
customer, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think what I would like to build on is this idea of how can we look at how we're managing a portfolio of products and services that is delivering out the employee experience across an organization. And this means you need the operational part of that, you need the design element, but then you need the people that actually can make that happen across the
Yeah.
organization. Great. So excellent conversation today, Tom. And what I really want to pull on is this idea that it is contextual. So it's very dangerous if we see the model as the blueprint. And that's the practical tip today. Don't just take a model as a blueprint and see it as a structural change or an implementation. Really see it as an evolutionary journey where you take your team through a development cycle and through a test and learn approach, start to build a new way of working with your team and your business directly. Thanks for your time today, Tom. If you like this video, please subscribe to be notified of the next in the series. This is Talking HR Trends with Natal and Tom. Thank you for your time.